by popular or unpopular demand, depending on who you ask. Hello, my name is Michael, aka the Trek Lad, and today myself and my good friend Chris Wickham will be going through and reviewing the worst First Contact reviews that I could find on the internet. Now, just a quick thing. There were more bad reviews for First Contact than I thought there would be. There are actually loads. There are literally 100. I mean, there are probably more than that, but I found at least 100. And given the fact that we've got about an hour here, I had to condense that down to 20, or 19 to be exact. So 19 of the very worst First Contact reviews. Bad, like really just terrible reviews. If you watched the first video that I did of this, I basically looked at the worst reviews for The Wrath of Khan, and I was as kind as I could have possibly have been, going through each review, attempting to work out exactly, where they were attempting to come from, and sometimes just flat out critiquing. We are going to do more of that. Today, we're doing things a little bit differently. As you can tell, I am live, or we are live anyway. So hello, if you are watching this live, thank you very much for joining. Hello to Becky, live long and prosper to you too. Hello to Selfish Peanut Hamper. Thank you for greeting me. Thank you very much. Maurice, my good friend Maurice, hello. This is going to be good. Better than the reviews anyway. Taz, yeah, we're going to do this. And my good friend Earl Grey Trekkie 1701. Let's boldly venture into War 352. Yeah, review-wise, literally, yeah, I see what you were doing there. I see what you were doing. And Matthew Price, there were bad reviews for First Contact. Yeah. What is wrong with these people? I don't know. We're going to do our best to get to the bottom of it anyway. I am joined, like I said, by my very, very good friend, Chris Wickham. He is my best friend in the whole wide world. Well, as long as he carries on being a patron of mine anyway. And on that note, if you would like to support what I'm doing with the channel, all of these videos, all of these live streams, and you would like to support with the creation of content as we move forward, we've got Discovery coming very, very soon. Very, very excited. What a good time to be a Trek fan. If you would like to support, a pledge of £1 a month will gain you access to my exclusive Patreon Discord server where we can talk Star Trek privately to our heart's content. If you would like to pledge more, £3 a month and above, that gains you early access to everything. My podcasts, my live streams, not my live streams because my live streams are live, but all of the video content. I have 7 videos on the slate that are going to be made hopefully over this weekend. It is a busy, as I said, a good time to be a Star Trek fan. Right. That's it. Plugs out the way. Oh, one more plug. Please like this video. If you're watching it live, please give it a like. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. And that goes to you, you wonderful people that are watching this on replay. Right. Plugs out of the way. Let's welcome my good friend Chris Wickham at this time. Hello, Chris. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very, very good. Now, there's a reason why you and I are doing First Contact reviews together, isn't there?
There are many reasons, but I think it's kind of like a binding principle of our friendship. First got that and Limp Bizkit songs, but this is up there. This is up there.
Did you get the reference when I was like, Chris Wickham is my best friend in the whole wide world?
I actually didn't. No, I thought you were going to say Galaxy, Universe, keep it Trek themed. I missed that.
Oh, missed
Shall I just leave? Bye.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that next time. Anyway, look, you and I, we're here to review First Contact's just worst reviews. Just the worst reviews we could possibly find. And yes, it's going to be an experience. But Chris, I mean, like you said, First Contact has bound us together. We've been friends for over 20 years. But First Contact is a bit of a special component in our friendship, isn't it? Why is that?
Well, it's funny you should actually ask that, because I was on Facebook earlier looking through some previous videos. And do you remember that time when you lived in the flat and you had the single room? It was the small room, and we watched First Contact together. I recorded you doing like reenactments of various bits of the film. Specifically, there was the moment where Worf kind of clambers up to the console, and I kind of pan to you, and you're like, "Make powers offline, and like stuff like that." Not to mention, obviously, the iconic Picard and Lily scene that we have done numerous times without consonants.
Yeah. So, I mean, Chris and I speak in memes. We have done since. Yeah, we have done since we were kids, you know, and we're still fairly adolescent, you know, in mind.
13 is the new 17.
13 is the new 17. And yes, so yeah, it's a big part of it. We've done reenactments, and we are going to start working on a super secret project very, very soon, which involves cardboard boxes. We can't talk about it yet, but we will be getting a Kickstarter going very, very soon, where when the economy improves properly and we can afford to buy more cardboard boxes than we should be buying.
Yeah,
but
they're at premium nowadays.
That's a conversation for an entirely different time. Bad First Contact reviews. You're here because we're going to go through the worst reviews on the planet. Now, Chris, just to confirm, you have not actually seen any of these reviews yet, have you?
I have not. I have seen this kind of opening panel that you've got with the really amazingly cropped Picard head. And you saw the reaction it got out of me, and that was a second viewing. So this is going to be good.
Yeah. I've intentionally done it to heighten the comedic impact. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each of these 19 reviews, going to read them out, and then what we're going to do is we're going to try and help understand, try and see where this person's coming from. And I mean, sometimes we won't be able to do that. Chris, are you ready?
I'm so excited, like I can't describe it.
I'm not. Right, here we go. Here's the first one. Here we go. This movie was a travesty that not only butchered Picard's character, as seen in Star Trek Picard, now on CBS All Access, nice little plug there, but also the role of the Borg. Why does a cybernetic hive mind need a monarch? The movie also has a distinct lack of first contacts, making the title a lie. Star Trek First Contact is an average at best action movie, but a bad Star Trek movie, arguably the worst of the TNG movies. Where do we start?
Clearly, this is a plan from the marketing team at CBS All Access, trying to move people to new Trek, maybe. Like the lack of first contact, the title clearly explains there would only be one, and there is one clear first contact, which we all know and love.
Yeah, I don't.
Isn't a monarch a masculine term?
Yeah, no.
No. Sorry, I'm thinking of a patriarch.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
So that's correct.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with your highlighting that this could be a CBS plant. I like that. As seen in Star Trek Picard, now available on CBS All Access.
Oh God, it's so clear.
But why does the cybernetic hive mind require a mod? I mean, the thing is, if you think about the Borg, they are like bees. They are hive, drones, ants as well, and you have a queen. Now, what I should have said before we began with this video, with this live stream, is all movies can be critiqued. Everything, all art can be critiqued. This live stream can be critiqued. Anything can be critiqued. Yeah, absolutely. As long as it's done in a way that's, I mean, I would say as long as it's fair, as long as it's constructive, you know, those kind of things, and as long as it makes sense. Now, the thing here is, First Contact for me did alter the Borg completely. But I would say that it added a new wrinkle to the Borg. I would say that Voyager went and ruined the Borg, but that's a story that's a story for another time. But,
to be fair, this review saying that why does a hive mind need a monarch? We've already discussed like the whole kind of insect hierarchy, but this is a very popular opinion that this shouldn't have been done. So I can agree on that aspect of it, like this whole concept of society that are equal and could take orders from one another. Does it need someone to organize those thoughts? Are they capable of doing it themselves? I will say that for this review.
The way I would, but does it warrant a 0.5-star review? Is you know,
no.
I know that you're not big on this franchise, but the Alien franchise, for example, in the first movie, it was a singular alien. In Aliens, plural, there were multiple aliens, and then they established the fact that
That's what I would expect.
Yeah, they established that there's a queen. That didn't ruin the aliens. If anything, it just added
character progression.
It added a new wrinkle to them completely.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the thing that really made me laugh with this review is The movie also has a distinct lack of first contacts, making the title a lie. The fuck? The bit at the end is first contact. It is literally humans meeting Vulcans for the very first time.
I showed this film to my partner, and even when she watches Trek every now and again and she hears a reference to First Contact, she's like, "Oh, that's that movie we watched where humans and Vulcans met for the first time." I'm like, "You've seen it once and you got the one first contact that was present. It can't be that subtle or hidden." Yeah, I know we're supposed to be being professional and critiquing these critiques, but what's that guy smoking and where can I get some?
Oh, tell me about it. Right, let's talk to Tom about that. Right, the next review is a bit of a word salad. I'm going to do my best to read it. We could be here for a while, and I would say that it looks like it could be written by someone whose first language is not English. There are typos in it. I am going to read them out as they've been typed, but I'm not going to attempt to mock that person. I think if English is your second language and you're typing out this amount of content,
Mad respect.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're talking nonsense. So here we go.
Okay. Oh my God.
At this point, I have now watched every single episode of Star Trek Next Generation, not The Next Generation, and there are things I would like to change in my review of Star Trek Generations, mostly referring to my criticism of the character Picard. I still don't like the other things I mentioned in my review, but now Picard in Star Trek Generations isn't as bad I thought before. I mean, a comma should be there, a couple of commas perhaps. And also, this is a review for First Contact. Just go and change your review for Generations. It's fine. There are still scenes in the film where I feel Picard wouldn't do that or in this way, but it is not as bad as before for me. Now, Star Trek First Contact, as a new Star Trek fan, is maybe the worst Star Trek film I have seen. The Borg are now completely different from where we last saw them when they finally got individual minds thanks to the Enterprise chancing the life of a single Borg that they called Hogue and then meeting with Law in the future. This film completely forgets this and says the Borg is a single entity that only has sense for domination, what is a very disappointing to see, as I very much liked, capital liked, the Borg in Next Generations. I do like the idea of going to the past to witness the first contact with an alien race, but the film had to put the Borg in there to make it quote unquote exciting to the normal people, I guess. Sometimes the characters just make the stupidest decisions, like LaForce mentioning all of the things to the character who is going to meet the first alien that the human race has met. That destroys the Prime Directive, and they do acknowledge that. They do acknowledge that, but they always say it doesn't matter now, or shut up. I mentioned in my review of Generations that they turned Star Trek into an action franchise for the films anyway, and yeah, I was right. The action in itself was okay, but it doesn't fit for Star Trek, and yes, Star Trek has had many action scenes before, but those moments the story was fought first and then the action. These films and the new shows Discovery and Picard, I feel that they make the action first and then they think how to connect the story to action, or they just make the action the first priority and thread the characters and world, and as they change everything so they can have an action scene that the people who know nothing about Star Trek can enjoy themselves. The action in itself isn't bad, it just doesn't fit with the Star Trek I like. Star Trek First Contact in itself is an okay action film. As a Star Trek film, it doesn't understand its source material or ignores it so they can make a film to the masses. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so yeah, sorry about that. LaForce is strong in Geordie. Yes, it is, Howard. Yes, it is. That is a lot. I mean, the thing is down here it says that this person just didn't like it. This person just didn't like First Contact. Now that's fine if you don't like First Contact, but he does make and again, assuming that this is a gentleman, the review is based around the fact that this person doesn't like what they did with the Borg and these changes. But the thing is it was never confirmed that the Borg was completely crippled by Hugh. And the thing is they never actually implanted Hugh with the virus. The only thing really that happened was Hugh kind of found his identity again. Now, in my head canon, Chris, I'm not sure where you stand on this, that the Borg probably re-assimilated Hugh. He has some thoughts of when he was disconnected from the hive, but if they re-assimilated him, the collective would have re-established itself. There would have been no issues at all. Only when the cube or sphere or whatever he was on malfunctioned, did he then remember his individuality that the Force had kind of helped him regain again? So the changes, the Borg weren't, and the Borg that we saw with Law were essentially just a splinter group. They didn't represent.
Absolutely. That was the first thing I thought when I read that. I thought, we've seen so many instances in a franchise where a singular ship has been affected by some kind of affliction. And I've always considered the events of Descent to be that. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing as well is LaForce mentioning all the things to the character who is going to meet the first alien, Zefram Cochrane.
Hey, it doesn't matter now, or shut up.
Shut up. Yeah, but the idea is, I guess they had no choice. They had to tell Zefram Cochrane what was going on because the Borg had already essentially disrupted.
Stake.
Yeah, I mean the stakes were, if they didn't intervene, the Borg would win and assimilate Earth in the past. So
we saw it on their way back in time. I mean, that kind of creepy shot of Earth completely covered in methane and those kind of Borg transport links is horrifying.
Remember that for later.
Oh, Christ, all right.
Remember that visual. But yeah, also these things that they don't like. I mean, so this guy mentioned in his review of Generations that they turned Star Trek into an action franchise. I wouldn't say that Generations was a flat out action movie. It had action set pieces in it, but it was more in line with the Next Generation than we'd seen.
It's always been considered to be a ultra long episode, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And First Contact, I mean, they are going to add some elements that make the film appeal to the masses. But you have long said that First Contact is one of those movies that does a really good job of appealing to diehards and also being very accessible to the masses. But I wouldn't say that happens because of action, would you?
No, it's a self-contained story. There's obviously the element of backstory from the events of Best of Both Worlds, but they're alluded to in the introduction. They're alluded to in his interaction with the Borg Queen towards the end. When I say he, I mean Picard, obviously. As a sci-fi set piece, it is a formidable film, and that is why I love it. It gains, just as Lower Decks does, it gains an extra meaning if you've watched the rest of the franchise. But as it stands, it's a good show or a good film in its own right.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. And to that point as well, do you think that, just bringing it up on the screen again, do you think that his points, I mean,
I have to full screen it so I can actually read it.
Let's do it again. But I mean, do you think that warrants a 1-star review, though? The fact that they made it accessible to new audiences, the fact, I mean, the whole Borg thing, I just don't think... I don't think they've quite got it. No.
Assuming a 5-star system, I would say this review is maybe a 2.5, 3. And if there was one point that I would not agree with, but relate to, it's the point that, where is it? I can't. Oh, he took off the screen. I can't read it now. It was fine. It was the point about him saying they added action to cater for the masses. Like, I can kind of see where he's coming from, but I don't think it's a valid point.
Let's move on.
All right,
we've got some short reviews. We got some short reviews to get through here, so making it nice and digestible. Yes, it was. 1 star. I couldn't concentrate because the guy invented warp speed, played the Nazi doctor in American Horror Story Asylum. Right. So, I mean, this kind of... So you're telling me that you can't watch movies because you would be distracted by the fact that actors in them played other characters in other TV shows or movies.
Why Star Trek TV shows and movies have generally cast like relative unknowns, because I can't rid the fact that he was a Nazi doctor in Asylum, even though Asylum happened so many years after this.
So, I mean, it's also the fact that it's like, I mean, I've watched American Horror Story Asylum and also thoroughly enjoyed that season as well.
But I heard this one was good.
But when James Conway appears on the screen, for about 2 seconds, I go, "Oh, look, it's Zefram Cochrane," like Leonardo DiCaprio kind of. Oh, look.
I watched. What did I watch the other day? What's the TNG episode that he's in? The Hunted. I watched that the other day, and I was like, Zefram Cochrane.
Yeah. It's just like, I mean, you're going to go, Zeph. But then 2 seconds. But then 2 seconds later, you're going to go, "Oh, he's playing somebody else because he's
That
an
is how the industry works.
because he's an actor." I mean, I didn't give Deep Impact 1 star because James Cromwell appeared in it, and I went, "Well, I was distracted by the whole film."
He was the farmer in Babe, is that comment. Can you
I mean,
highlight that comment from Becky O'Brien?
I would. He was the farmer in Babe, yeah.
That's how I know him primarily.
No, we primarily know him from Star Trek as Zefram Cochrane.
Of course, I'm sorry.
There we go. But yeah, it's I mean, I would just say to this person that they should probably not watch films, because it just seems like the format, the medium just might not be for them. Right. Here we go. Next review. It's another meaty one again. Bear with.
Oh, okay.
1 star. I literally can't believe they managed to make this worse than Generations. It's impressively boring and so badly written that, much like the AOS movies, it feels like it was written by people who didn't actually like or know much about the franchise, which is really weird given that this wasn't even the case here. They really barged in here and retconned one of the most iconic parts of TNG by adding a Borg queen, which somehow makes sense given what we know about the Borg as a hive mind with no individuality. She also reads as a literal sexual predator who victimizes both Data and retroactively Picard, which is really not a good look. I can't reconcile this Zefram Cochrane and the one who first appeared in TOS. I can't reconcile Picard's behavior in this movie with development viewers had seen in TNG episodes about the Borg. Now is where I admit that this movie was actually one of, if not the first Star Trek things I ever saw, and that at the time I assumed I was unimpressed because I had come in after the first 30 minutes and didn't know who anyone was. Now I know that knowing more about the characters and series makes it worse rather than better, so ... Cheers! Wow. Okay. So
experience that phenomenon where like you read a sentence and the individual words make sense, but together they don't.
Well,
review is to me.
I mean, it feels like the person that wrote this review kind of undermines themselves on a couple of occasions. So
yeah.
it was written by people who didn't like or know much about the franchise. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the First Contact was written by Ronald D. Moore, Brendan Braga, and Rick Berman.
Like the trifecta of Trek.
People that really knew what Star Trek was about. But they had to make an action movie that appealed to the masses, as we were kind of talking about earlier. But I still feel like it works as a Star Trek movie. I mean, because if we think about the core, I mean, optimism is still at the heart of First Contact because they are working to better the human race. They just have a giant obstacle in the form of vicious alien cyborg zombies from Sweden that want to take everybody over. So they overcome that, and the peaceful, optimistic utopia of humanity gets to happen.
That's what they're fighting to save at the end of the day.
They're fighting to save the world, just as like you and I are fighting to save film criticism right now.
A lot of people don't seem to understand that the structure of writing and creating a film is vastly different to writing a TV show. Like, I'm not going to go to the ins and outs of it because we don't have time of all these reviews, but like I expect films to follow a certain structure, at least for Western audiences, and a bit of action, as my mum would say. I like a bit of action in a Star Trek. You know, I would expect the kind of 3-act kind. Is it a 3-act thing you usually get?
Yeah, usually a 3, and this does have 3-act structure. Yeah.
So I would expect that, and I expect some kind of like ridiculously intense and exciting climax. You even get that in rom-coms. You know, they'll inject something to give it some modicum of action. So I just feel like this person doesn't particularly understand that.
Yeah, well, I mean, their criticism about the addition of a Borg queen, we've already talked about it, but then they kind of go, well, it kind of makes sense anyway. So, okay.
I hated it, but I get it.
She also reads as a literal sexual predator who victimizes. Yeah, she's a villain. she's a villain. She's going to do bad things. It's not a good look because she's a villain. Can't reconcile this Zefram Cochrane. Now, I don't know if you've actually, I don't know, Chris, if you've watched that original series episode, and I'm not trying to out you, but Zefram Cochrane, he does appear in the original series as someone that's a little bit more enlightened. He's on an alien planet. He's very different to this Zefram Cochrane. But the thing is that Zefram Cochrane that we see is like 100 or so years after, more so than this than the events that you see here. People change, funny enough. People change.
Absolutely. Like they age. That's just time, and it's linear notion.
Absolutely. There we go. Can't reconcile Picard's behavior. Now, this is
reconcile, don't you?
this is criticism.
I know.
This is criticism that I think is fairly valid. My big critique of the Star Trek movies is they do change the Picard character somewhat from the diplomatic Picard that we see in TNG to a bit more of a gung-ho, guns blazes, kind of I'm going to ram my ship into your ship kind of Picard. But yeah. I don't care. Again, time changes people. So
I was watching some clips from the end of Nemesis earlier, great day, slow day at work sometimes. And I feel like, because I know that there was a lot of negative criticism of Stuart Baird's direction of that film. And it doesn't feel like Picard is truly himself for a lot of that film. But some of that can be attributed to the fact that he's been with these people for so long. They're like a family to him now. So, of course, he's going to be a little bit more playful. I'll be in the gym. Light-hearted. So, people move on, exactly as you say.
People move. And also, I can also accept that things are written by different people.
Blasphemy.
Anyway, let's move on. We've got some more short ones. I mean, we're almost half an hour in and we've not scratched the surface yet. But have you got time to stick with?
Yeah, I got to make a spag bowl. I think. What was I going to make? Yeah, spag bowl.
Great. Take us from Star Trek talk to the most mundane thing in the world. Speaking of mundane, I don't know if this actually registers. 1 star. Is it time for a new hobby? I keep watching boring movie after boring movie. I'm going crazy. I watched 20 movies in 3 days and only one I like. May I suggest? I don't know if there's a lot we can say on this one. May I suggest that you stop watching movies? I can only say that I hope First Contact was.
Yeah, the hobby you could do. Smart, man.
Yeah. There we go.
Before this would become a counting session,
Right, next one. I like this one. 1 star. The Borg Queen is really stupid. I hate her. I hate how it recontextualized the Borg, and I had John Love Picard Action Man.
That's a rare thing to have had John Love Picard. Well, Andrew Johnson.
I mean, the Borg Queen. I would say that the Borg Queen in this movie does stupid things because spoilers if you've not seen First Contact, by the way, is when Data punctures the warp plasma coolant. The first thing she thinks about is just holding on to Picard's shoe. Not the smartest thing, not really. Knowing also the fact that if she dies, all of the other Borg die, which is Hollywood trope 101. So she is stupid. But I would say that you're probably supposed to hate her because she is the villain of this piece. We've already talked about the recontextualization of the Borg. I don't know if it's. I mean, it does change the Borg this film, but I don't think it ruins the Borg. The
rest of my day giggling at John Love Picard
John Love Picard Action Man. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he becomes an action hero, but he did spend most of Generations just crying into a photo album, and I think I think it was good that they gave him some moments of glory. So there we go. Do you have anything else to say to Andrew, Chris?
No, other than well done on getting Patrick Stewart to swing that way. If you had indeed had him, that's quite the feat.
Getting slightly better now. 1.5 stars. The Next Generation doesn't have the heart of the original series. It's a tryhard. There's some fun, but it doesn't have this atmosphere you want to hang around in. But what are they supposed to do? It was time to move on. I don't know if this is a critique of The Next Generation.
It sounds like the final paragraph of any novel written ever.
I don't get this one really. The Next Generation doesn't have the heart of the original series. It doesn't have the atmosphere you want to hang around it. Now, again, not outing you, Chris, but the original series isn't your favorite. You don't watch a lot of it. It's not my favorite. I don't watch a lot of it, but I have watched them all. It's the original series is a horror show in space where lots of terrible things happen to unnamed crew members. I mean, I don't know. And it was very much like Final Frontier, kind of Wild West in space. The Next Generation is them lounging around in like the Porsche of starships, having a good time, attending musical concerts. I would say that the Next Generation has more heart than the original series and improved upon various aspects of the original series. That's my opinion anyway. But that's not what we're here talking about. We're talking about First Contact. I don't know what this person was trying to say. It doesn't feel like a criticism. It doesn't feel like a review of First Contact.
No, it feels like someone was just upset that it wasn't the original series or those old scientists.
Yeah, how dare this film not be the original series? But I guess it's time to move on. 1.5 stars.
They had their purists at the beginning. They had their purists at the end. It's just the way the world ends.
Here's a review that I found really, really confusing.
Okay.
1.5 stars. 3 out of 10 is the highest possible rating for a triple episode TV show moonlighting as a film. Do you wanna start there?
This is something that's very difficult to dissect as someone with a working brain.
Well, I mean, it kind of looks like he's given half a star to
make the joke of 3 out of 10.
Yeah, but I mean, I strongly disagree with his analysis. The First Contact is a triple episode, a triple TV episode.
I understand that criticism of Generations, I really do. But First Contact, in my opinion, has a great traditional filmic structure. I don't know if filmic's even a word, but I'm rolling with it.
It is now. It is now.
It is now. I disagree with this, I'm afraid. Smalex. I thought that was an A.
Just think you're talking Smalex, mate. Absolute Smalex. Right, here we go. Here's another one. 2 stars. Why am I still watching these? I'm still not enjoying them.
He's given it the highest rating with the worst criticism somehow.
Why am I still watching these? I'm still not enjoying them.
Just wait until Insurrection.
Yeah, I mean, if you've gotten to the 8th movie in the series, I mean, just stop. I mean,
yeah, I'm interested to know, still watching these. What exactly is these? Is this all of Star Trek? Is it just the Next Generation films? Is it all the? I don't know. Is it sci-fi in general?
I just want to know. I honestly just want to know.
Why am I still watching films?
But I want to know if Seb finished. I want to know if he got to
whatever he was doing, whether he finished.
Here's another one. 2 stars. Dog shit.
Pretty an open and shut case.
I mean, there are going to be films that people just don't like. And
It's a cute picture of it. Is that a sea lion or a seal?
I don't care. I don't know. I would say, I mean, the thing is these reviews are taken from a website called Letterboxd, and Letterboxd is quite well known for meme film reviews and things like that. I've done some in the past. But for the purposes of this conversation, I'm taking the reviews at face value.
Some of them do feel deadly serious. This one is probably just a troll, as is 1 or 2 others that we've looked at, I think. But yeah.
It's I mean, dog shit, 2 stars. I would love to see what he refers to 1-star movies as.
Llama shit.
I love this review. Here we go.
Okay.
2 stars. Does it have heart? Or is James Cromwell actually just Jonathan Frakes' new meth dealer? At least this one doesn't have Whoopi Goldberg, but I'm tempted to assimilate this review into a total of 1 star for the entire Star Trek cinematic universe in honor of the horny spelled wrong, Borg Slut Queen. Can COVID-19 please wipe humanity out before I get to the movie where Tom Hardy is confused because he isn't playing an Earthbound chav? Next!
So topical and so dark.
I mean, this review was fascinating.
What film are they referring to with Earthbound Chav? It's not Legend, is it?
I don't know.
Commenters, please enlighten us.
Because I know he played the Cray twins.
Yeah.
In that movie. I don't know. This review confused me, and I love the username Chinna Tarantino. This does strike me as a bit of a meme review. I laughed for a while with the James Cromwell's new meth dealer, and
hence the picture.
And at least this one didn't have Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, what's your deal with what's your agenda against Whoopi Goldberg? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, never mind. Here we go. Next one. 2 stars. Welp, this didn't hold up very well. I mean, how did Zephram Cochrane even land his ship? It's a rocket! Frakes tried, damn it. Well, I just want to quickly... I want to talk about...
They didn't show the ship landing, did they? Like,
no.
What does it matter?
But the thing is, as well, is... well, one, it's in the future, so it could just have landing struts. It could just, I mean, it's using.
I would assume it did, yeah.
Or if it's a rocket, I hope this person realizes, classic Dank, that back in the 60s and 70s, we were still using rockets until the space shuttle program started, where you could reuse stuff. Rockets, you would just have the capsule. Which would then come back to Earth. And if you look very closely at the Phoenix, the main module would probably just detach from the rocket and then just land in the sea or land somewhere.
That's how they generally do things, even nowadays, isn't it? Like a sea landing.
I'm just assuming that this person probably just doesn't understand how spaceships work.
But Frakes tried, damn it.
Frakes did try, and Frakes succeeded. There we go. We're venturing into some longer territory here again. But this review, I loved it. I loved it so much. Are you ready? You ready?
I probably am not, but I think I am.
Stretch. 2 stars. Resistance is silly looking and has glaring structural and pacing issues. I do like the idea of going back to stop first contact. That's a neat premise. But the execution is horrible. This film jumps from dumb action set piece to dumb action set piece with some awful comedy thrown in for good measure. This just doesn't feel like Star Trek. Oh, boring. I understand they got to make it more action-y for a general audience.
Second time we've heard that.
But they proved they can do that well multiple times on the show, i.e. Die Hard Picard episode.
Is that the booby trap one? What's it called?
No, it's the one with the cascade.
The Barian sweep?
Barian sweep, that's it. Yeah,
that's the one I mean. Yeah, carry on.
Die Hard on the Enterprise. Yeah, I did have fun laughing at how bad it was, and who thought Worf needed one-liners, but not as much fun as I have watching TNG. Just go watch the best of both worlds. Well, so this is the same kind of. This is just a bit of a lazy. I mean, I like the first sentence. Resistance is silly looking and has glaring structural and pacing issues. But usually, when I come across
why they didn't use that in the show.
My first question here is, what are those structural and pacing issues? It's fast paced. It doesn't really lull in any moment. I can't think of any excess fat that this film has that could be trimmed off to save time. It all feels quite essential.
Every scene, every line of dialogue seems really measured to me, which is why I enjoy it. It's very lean.
And it's trim, isn't it? It literally no wasted muscle movement. It just goes. I don't understand what the glaring structural and pacing issues are.
Well, glaring, you should see them, right? I mean, I see them.
Oh yeah, totally.
Spencer's my best mate.
Execution is horrible. I don't understand how the execution of the story is horrible. I think it's a fairly tidy story as well. We're talking about it's a very traditional 3-act structure that the movie has.
Yeah.
The film jumps from dumb action set piece to dumb action set piece with awful comedy thrown in for good measure. I mean, I don't know what the dumb action set pieces are now. Now, good friend Law Reloaded recently finished a full length. He literally dissected this film, and I think that he kind of robbed himself of enjoyment. I think usually when you take something apart and review it in such minutiae, you're going to struggle to enjoy it for what it is. I can understand how some people would feel some elements are dumb, but I just don't know.
I mean, what I love about First Contact, even to this day, is that the special effects and just how the action is choreographed still holds up. I mean, how many years has it been? 24? It's 25th anniversary next year. Surely it came out in 96.
Yeah.
You know, it looks great to the modern day, and that's a testament to how great those action set pieces are, even if they are dumb. I'm sorry, Spencer. I mean, I know we're supposed to be being constructive, but this feels like you did hate it, but I'd like some justification for your glaring structural pacing issues.
And also, I feel like the review kind of falls down when he starts talking about Die Hard Picard episode, because that is an example of Star Trek at its dumbest, actiony, most derivative form. Die Hard on the episode. But it is dumb. It's dumb, and it's nowhere near as good as this. It's nowhere near as good as this. You know, it's very, the action set pieces in that are very TV show, very rudimentary, and they are dumb. So, and again, that's my opinion. You've got a different opinion on the episode. I did have fun laughing at how bad it was. Worf, how many one-liners does Worf have? I mean, he has assimilate this.
I was just thinking, definitely feeling aggressive tendency, sir, but that's not this film.
That's Insurrection.
Yeah, more one-liners in. Did you say Inception?
No, Insurrection.
I said Inception.
No.
Yeah, that's definitely not this film. But apart from assimilate this, that's all I can think of.
Yeah, I don't know.
Perhaps today is a good day to die. Prepare for ramming speed.
Oh yeah. But I mean, who fought Worf?
Oh no. There's tough little ship. Little. There's actually quite a few.
There are a few, but I guess I mean, Worf. Those one-liners are good. They are good.
Yeah,
and I do agree with his last line though. Just go watch the best of both worlds. I mean, go watch the best of both worlds, and then watch this.
And watch this, yeah watch Family maybe in between.
Yeah, there we go. Right, next one. 2 stars. This was probably the wrong place to start with Star Trek. Also, not a great James Cromwell performance.
I'm hoping it was their start and not they think it was the start.
Well, the thing is I would actually say this is a really good place to start with Star Trek.
I showed my partner this film. It was her first real exposure to Trek where she wasn't just sat in the room watching something I was watching, and she really enjoyed it. I showed it to her in anticipation of Picard, and obviously when Picard goes to the Borg cube and meets up with Hugh, she didn't know who Hugh was, so I had to explain that. You know, it did offer a layer of appreciation. So I disagree.
We can respectfully and
anti-formalist.
I'm just assuming that anti-formalist doesn't like anything, and I mean this might have been the wrong place to start with Star Trek for this person, but I do feel like this is a good way to jump into the Star Trek universe, meet an established crew, and also learn a little bit more about humanity, where we were and how we got to the future that we see Picard and crew in, so I think it's a really good place to start. I don't understand the not a great James Cromwell performance. I mean, he didn't win the Oscar for it.
Was he nominated?
No, he'd come off winning the Academy Award for I think it's Best Supporting Actor in Babe, which is great. No, I think he was nominated. He's either nominated or he won it. I can't quite remember. So I'm really sorry, anti-formalist, that James Cromwell doesn't win an Academy Award or get a nomination every time he's in a film.
He should do.
Here we go. Here's another one. 2 stars. The Borg Queen was all right, I guess. Is
Hard to
is
argue with that. Although I don't know why that just reminded me of this. I'm going to show everyone something that I bought at a convention just because there's literally nothing to say about this review. I'm just going to go off on a tangent. So it's a painting, or more rather a print of a painting of New York assimilated by the Borg.
Ooh.
I don't know how well you can see that.
Why haven't you given that to me?
Because I want it. I'm going to put it in a custom. It's a really weird shape, as you can probably tell from the picture, but I'm going to put that in a glass frame at some point. And that's my contribution to this review.
So you're going to frame that, but you're not going to frame our Voyage drinking game.
Wow, like I said to you the other day, it's double-sided. So
I don't care. I don't care.
Revolving platform and lit on both sides, 24/7.
Yes.
It's not going to go in a frame.
I'm worried. I'm worried that time is getting to that review paper, to that paper, and that it's. Anyway, we're digressing. We're digressing. 2 stars. I groaned of exhaustion as the film ended with yet another nod to the original series. Now, I'm just trying to be smart here. Yet another nod to the original series. I'm assuming he's referring to the line, the American Humane Association, no animal was harmed in the making of this film, which I think pops up for all productions. But, I mean, why... groaned in exhaustion as the film ended with yet another nod to the original series. I mean, it is going to nod to Star Trek because it's a Star Trek film.
Yeah. When there are no words, I know I'm on a live stream and I'm supposed to be entertaining, but very few words. Hence why I showed the Borg print.
Right, here we go. Let's get back into this. 2 stars. Boo! I mean, I'll give it this. It sure as hell feels and behaves like an actual movie, which is something the other 3 next-gen films never pull off. Huh? But after you've luxuriated in that sensation for 15 minutes, you realize that every single storytelling decision is the wrong one. Also, they claim World War III happened in like 2050. WTF is that? It's clearly going to start early next year. Now, this is concerning because was Matt Brown planning on starting World War III himself? That sounds like he sounds very confident in his declaration.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree that I would expect World War III, if it was going to happen before 2050. So I will agree with that aspect of the review.
Yeah, I mean, but also looking at the timing of the review, 2016. I mean, the dude was way off, way off. But
it's probably when North Korea had launched a few missiles, no doubt.
The sensation for 15 minutes, you realize that every single storytelling decision is the wrong one. Now, here's my...
please, Mr. Brown.
Here's where I get annoyed, where people give films bad reviews because films don't happen the way they want them to. And that's criticism that's kind of always been there, but it's become very apparent in media and online and on the internet over the last few years, pretty much from like 2015 onwards, because people don't get what they want, they get angry.
Yes.
And give things bad reviews.
And the internet has kind of perpetuated that a lot, because if something isn't the way that they want it to be, then they've got a platform to air that concern.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know, Howard. Maybe I don't know. But let's move as swiftly on as we possibly can. Oh, we've got 2 left. Chris.
2. Christ, we've gone through those quickly.
And we have my favorite review.
Oh, is it this one?
Yeah, this one.
Set phasers to laugh, I guess.
So bear with us as I try and read it.
Try, okay.
Because and hello to Tucko McTuckerpants as well.
Yeah, I saw he was back. Hey.
Yeah, thanks for not changing your name. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I've seen a few comments say that. I don't know the actual date of this picture, but it does have the Twin Towers in it.
Right, let's get into this review. Tucko McTuckerpants,
1999, just to let you know. So
Chris, brace yourself.
Okay.
I'm going to do my best to read this. I'm going to read it as I imagined that they were typing it. Here we go. This 2-star review comes from Jill.
Okay.
Okay, listen. I only watched this just now because I'm trying to focus on finishing a storyboard, which is due tomorrow at noon, and I needed a movie I could half pay attention to while I worked. But listen, okay? Star Trek movies are not good. Not even the good ones. They just aren't. Every day, I thank the good Lord that they never made a Deep Space Nine movie. Thanks, at God. Listen, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The Star Trek formula does not work as a movie. Insurrection is basically a 90-minute episode. It's horrendously boring. The new hashtag Star Trek hashtag movies are hashtag action, hashtag packed, and are basically just bad danger action boy space movies with Kirk and Spock in them. It just never works. All right? Listen. This is the best Star Trek movie there is, and it is still not good. The pacing is way all over the place. Too little time is spent on capital, really capital, important, capital plot, capital points. Like the part where they go back in time is like 2 seconds of dialogue. You don't even see nothing. The stakes just don't feel that high, even though they're supposed to be. The Borg are crazy space robots. They're unstoppable bad boys. But they never really feel that dangerous in the movie. I mean, they adapt to you punching, but then all you have to do is do a different flavor of punching, and then they die. Look here, buddy. It's not good. There's this one part where Data orgasms. We don't need that. Jesus. I want to say right now.
That was a journey.
I want to say right now that this is my favorite review for anything ever. It's not a review. It's a rant, and I can't take it seriously because they only half paid attention to it while they worked.
Yeah, so you've invalidated everything you're about to say.
So the important bit here, right? The capital, really capital, important, capital plot, capital points. Like the part where they go back in time is like 2 seconds of dialogue and you don't even see nothing. Do you remember earlier on when I said, do you remember when they see Earth has been Borgified?
Yes.
That's you see that.
The thing is that they're clearly trying to tell us that they saw something because they use a double negative. So if they don't see nothing, then they do see something, which is what we see. We see the Borgified Earth. We see the time conduit. They have the discussion. So there's a lot to see and hear. I mean, if it was 4D, we could probably taste it as well. I feel like given the amount of time they had to explain it, it was very concisely done.
I mean, they saw nothing. They only saw an assimilated Earth with a population of 9 billion Borg. No stake at all. Time travel. So yeah.
Can we talk about that for a moment? Because I love this. When they do that 3-tiered explanation of what time travel is.
Yes,
it's so good, isn't it? So what is it? What's the first one? I'm detecting tachyon emissions. They're creating a temporal vortex. Time travel. Yeah. It's explained in 3 ways that's when they said that's the first thing I thought of. They concisely explain what is happening in 3 different comprehension tiers in the space of like 5 seconds.
I'm going to just assume that was probably Brannon Braga probably writing that because he's always had quite a knack for the science behind it, whereas Ronald D. Moore probably wrote the character stuff and Rick Bergman probably just, I don't know, talked to just was probably
watched
just being
and had a drink.
He's probably just being masochistic or something, and just being a douche, misogynistic. So yeah, I mean, I wanted to read this review because it's a trip. But they only half watched it. So I can only imagine if they'd fully watched it, this would be a 4-star review.
That's exactly how it would work. Yeah.
There we go.
Simple math.
Simple math. And I want to finish with a gem from IMDb from a chap called Abe Jenkins. It was written on the 7th of December, 1998.
Oh, topical. Like, what do they call that? Contemporary.
Yeah, at the time. And just pay attention to the headline.
Okay.
1 out of 10. Not a bad movie, but it's not Trek. I can enjoy virtually any movie. All it takes is being in the right frame of mind. Unfortunately, I went into this movie expecting a Star Trek movie, not Aliens with the TNG crew. From the beginning, Star Trek The Next Generation took the ideals of the original series, a future where mankind is more or less at peace, where our main focus is exploration and learning rather than war, to a new level. This movie, though, embraces the classic science fiction future where mankind is always struggling to survive in a war. In this case, the war is against a ruthless enemy who is determined that by going back in time to destroy Earth, it can win its war. That's not a bad concept. And in fact, if someone had just told me the plot, I'd have run to see this movie. However, I came to see this movie because it was Star Trek. And if I hadn't got my tickets for free, and therefore my protests were virtually meaningless, I'd have walked out of the theatre.
This guy must be a riot on Twitter. That's all I can say. God. Could you highlight that comment from Becky O'Brien?
So it's
confirmed.
So aliens with T and Green crew. No, please don't, Maurice. Please don't, because it's just too basic, and I know that's not. I know that's not you. But the thing is I can appreciate. I mean, they were going to do actiony stuff with these. We've already talked about that. But the thing is where this review falls apart is not only did he get his tickets for free, so I mean. Interesting that he got his tickets for free and he didn't give this a 10-star, because usually what people do when they're given free stuff. But the idea that the movie embraces the classic science fiction future where mankind is always struggling to survive in a war. It's not, though. I mean, because the struggle has already happened. World War III has ended. They're in essentially a post-apocalyptic society. Appreciate that. But it's a prequel to the future that we were going to get, that they had to save, by destroying the Borg and thwarting their plans. We got that utopia. And we actually see the movie end with some of the most optimistic shots in the Star Trek franchise of a ravaged society who are picking up the pieces. They're living in shacks, sitting down to enjoy a drink with aliens that have just landed on the planet, ushering a brave new world and that utopia that we eventually get to.
Can I also just say, from a logistical point of view, it's not a war unless you declare war. So the Borg didn't declare war on the Enterprise E or vice versa. So technically, it's a conflict.
Well, yeah, and it's the Borg don't see it as war; they see it as just adding
to the perfection.
Them. Yeah, they are seeking perfection. You could say that you could liken their mission to a crusade, sure, but they don't think like that. They're robots. They're just attempting to assimilate. It's not war at all. I mean, the Federation would see it as an act of war on the Federation for sure. But I mean, I don't see how it warrants a 1-star review. And, I hope Abe Jenkins is still with us. I mean, written a long time ago. This does sound like someone, does sound like my granddad went to see a Star Trek film and got very angry.
It's quite nice, actually, because I don't know if any of the viewers have been watching the Delta Flyers podcast, but they've recently kind of retired this segment, but they would do a segment where they would find reviews.
Are you plugging other stuff on my stuff?
I'm afraid so, yeah. It's just the fact that they would do a section of contemporaneous reviews. That's how McNeil would describe it, and they would actually go and find reviews from the time. And every time I watched that segment, I thought, where have you dug those up from? So to see you get a review from 98, I'm very impressed.
I just went to IMDb and I went to view all
oldest first.
So there we go. Well, there we go, everybody. That is bad first contact reviews, like really, really hashtag bad. And now you understand where the hashtag came from, hopefully. Chris, it's been fun, my friend. It's been fun as it could possibly be.
As fun as reading Star Trek is.
Not Trek. It's not Trek. How dare it be Trek? How dare Star Trek feature action? How rude. Chris,
I'm tired of this gatekeeping. Please stop gatekeeping. Like, everything is wonderful.
It will never change. It will never go away, will it? As long as we have Star Trek, we'll have people that don't like it. But the thing is while people don't like it, we can always have a bit of a laugh at people's lack of enjoyment for what it is. Chris, you're going to be joining me hopefully later. What are we going to be talking about?
So I believe I'll be attending the second hour of your Lower Decks season finale live stream, and can I say it was a remarkable episode? Absolutely loved it. So the live stream should be a lot of fun.
There we go. So yeah, as Chris mentioned, we have the season finale of Let's Talk About Lower Decks starting at 9 p.m. BST. That's 4 in the East. It is, as Chris says, a 2-hour live stream finale special, where in the first hour we're going to be talking about the series finale. We'll probably talk about the series finale on or the season finale, let's get that right, on the second hour, because Chris will join, and I'm sure my wonderful guests in that second part will probably want to talk about that. But in the second hour we're mainly going to be talking about the overall thoughts of Lower Decks. I hope you can join. If you haven't done so already, please consider giving this video or this live stream a like, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel for more wonderful video contents and live streamings starring me and probably this guy, because he's fun. He's fun, right?
If you watch any of the live streams, I can't point in the right direction.
No, it's mirrored. I can't. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Right. We're going to go. We will see you for the live stream of Lower Decks at 9 p.m. 4 in the East, like I said. And until then, stay happy, stay safe, stay well. Chris, is there anything else that you want to say?
No, other than, well, thanks for having me. It's been a blast. This whole premise came together less than 24 hours ago. So it's great that we've got the production value and enough reviews to talk about. So yeah, guys, keep following TrekLad's content. It's great. It's fun. I never tire of watching the content. So yeah.
He's paid to say that. Or he pays me to say that. It's the beauty.
I pay him to say it myself.
It's the beauty of, yeah, it's the beauty of the world that we live in. Right, everybody, thank you so much for joining. Come join us later on if you can. Until then, live long and prosper.